Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
All right, welcome back to NBS Fitness Radio. I am here with Wright Cox. Wright has been a member out at NBS Fitness Collierville for, I guess, almost 2.5 years, something like that. At least 2
A
years.
little over 2 years.
So Wright is the father of one of my best friends, Morgan, and that's how we got connected. And Wright has a really cool, amazing story of, taking on the fitness journey a little bit later in life and how that's impacted his life. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So Wright, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here. Thank you, David.
So let's start this story with what kicked off this pursuit, this journey. What was the catalyst for saying, I need to start getting into the gym?
Well, I'll start off saying I guess dating back to 2010, I started having some fairly significant health issues. I had a couple of stents, went in for a regular physical. My doctor wanted me to, he recommended I get a treadmill. Went to get a treadmill and I failed that. And
when you say treadmill, I just want to clarify the treadmill test.
The treadmill test with a cardiologist, yes.
Okay.
And went to get that done, and I did not know I had failed it, but they had went through some things, and they had me go sit down out in the lobby, and they said, we'll be with you in a minute. And they came back down there, and they said, well, we need to run a few more tests, so we need you to go down. Those are done down at Germantown Methodist Hospital. And I said, okay, well, I didn't think anything of it, got in the car, drove down there, and called my wife on the way and said, they're doing some more tests. And I got down there, and she said, do I need to come on down there? I said, no, I'm just gonna get these tests run. She said, well, I'm gonna finish getting ready, and then I'll head down there. I said, okay. So my wife gets down there and walks in, says, my husband's here having some tests run. And she said, the nurse or receptionist told my wife, she said, well, Ms. Cox, your husband's in surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, scared her and scared me as well. But ended up, I had 2 stents put in at that time, got 2 more in 2012, and then I got another one in 2019. So I have 5 stents. So I have a family history of heart disease, and so it was kind of through that, and just how I felt in general. I just did not feel good, and it was early January. My birthday's in January, and and I just got to thinking, is this the best that I'm going to feel? Is this what I had to look forward to? It's my 65th birthday. And I thought, I can do better than this. I just know that I can for the rest of my life. I don't want to end up, as the saying goes, I want to be the last one in the gym rather than the first one in the nursing home. But talked to Morgan about it, and he was coming to NBS, and he suggested, just come sit down with David, and y'all work on it a little bit, which I did, and did some one-on-one there, as you know, and then that worked into going to the classes, and I have been going for the last couple of years. So that's kind of where it started.
What were the symptoms that led you to the cardiologist?
Well, it's at the very beginning, it was, I went in for a regular physical, and there were just times that I would feel kind of short of breath. I'd walk up a set of stairs, was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I get to the top of the stairs, and I'm like, golly, I can't believe I'm out of breath, and then generally the feeling of, when you think about being overweight, the best way you can is to determine how you feel is your clothes. When you put your clothes on, do your clothes feel tight that you just you can't move around like you want to and so forth. So that was part of it with the cardiologist is just feeling kind of lethargic at times, and then walk up a flight of stairs. You first attribute it to, well, I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
Well, and just the more of that, I just there's got to be more to this, and it led me to go to my doctor, and he said, well, let's do your regular physical, and he said, let's go a little deeper, and let me refer you to a cardiologist, and that's where we went from there.
Was there any recommendation from the medical staff for changes in exercise routine or diet or lifestyle changes?
Yeah, they suggested that I get more active, and I was doing that, honestly. I mean, I joined another fitness place here, but I was doing it on my own, and for most everyone, it's not that easy. You can't just walk in a gym. I mean, I don't know anything about what you do about working out. I mean, you go in there, and I usually, when I would go, I would use the machines, and I would, lift weights, or I would do, whatever, leg press or whatever. And I found that I wasn't really, and I try to do a better job watching what I eat. There's, of course, for times when you would mess up and you'd have some French fries or whatever. And, but I tried to kind of watch that. But my cardiologist said, I asked him when I was getting this last stent put in, I said, how much of this is my having a hamburger, and how much of it is heredity? And he said, well, a lot of it's heredity. I mean, it's who your parents are, and what they've passed down to you. And my dad had a history of heart disease, but there's still, that doesn't mean that you just throw in the towel and say, well, this is what it's going to be like. I just decided that, I can do better than this.
Right.
And so but that's the biggest thing was back at that time, going to a gym and expecting that I could do it on my own and achieve results. Yes, you're doing something, you're getting active and you're doing something, but are you really helping yourself that much? You're helping yourself to a certain degree, but not to your full potential. And that's where when I talked to my son, talked to my wife, Cindy, and my other children, I just decided that I can do better. And one of the other big motivations, David, as you know, we have 9 grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I have wonderful memories with my grandfather, and my children have great memories with their grandfather. He was very active. Cindy's dad was very active and involved in their life, and I wanted to be that for my grandchildren, and I wanted to be able to, when they come to the house and I want to get down in the floor and play with them, that I can do that fairly easily. And so those were the goals that are driving me, is being able to get down on the floor with my grandchildren, being able to bend down and pick them up. Something as simple as picking them up is those are, if those are considered goals, those were goals that I had. And so those little ones are a huge motivation for me, and also for my wife. Cindy and I, there's things that we want to do together. And we were out to dinner not long ago. I don't mean to be rambling, but I'm sorry if I am, but it's just you're okay with it. I'm okay.
Tell the story.
We were out to dinner the other night, not long ago, and I don't know what these people's background was or what got them to where they were, but this couple got up at another table and they didn't appear to be a lot older than Cindy and myself. And she was on a walker and he was walking with a cane, and I thought, I'm not gonna, a cane may be in my future at some time, but it's not gonna be right now. I'm gonna do everything I can to prevent it and put that off as long as I possibly can. So
Love it. When you first started going to the gym on your own, when you reflect back on that, do you think you would have been open to doing training with a coach at that point? Or was that kind of the first step you needed to take in order to be open to the idea of coaching down the road?
probably so. I probably because I think, you think, well, at least I thought, well, I don't, I got sense enough to be able to do this. I go in here and lift weights and I can sweat a little bit, that kind of thing, and you know, some of it is pride. You're men especially are afraid to reach out and ask for help. Just like asking for directions. Men don't want to do that, it makes them feel weak or whatever you want to call it. And so, um, I don't know that I consciously thought that, but I thought, I got sense enough to do this. But I think that step probably helped me, that I needed to go through that to get to the place where, this isn't working for me, and but I need to make a change to do better. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Reflect back on kind of what those first sessions were like when you started working with the coach. Like, what do you remember? What sticks out?
Um, Everything seemed new, and they're the coach at that time was uh, I guess being careful with me, you might say, because thinking, because one thing and uh, you have to kind of learn build a relationship where they know you and they know kind of what your limits are, and uh, and you're comfortable with them. I think that probably is a takeaway for me. Um, was just understanding each other a little bit, and me learning. When there's y'all. I mean, just like in a bank, there's banker language, and the same thing in a gym. There's gym language, and understanding what that is. I mean, I didn't know what a kettlebell swing was when I first started. I didn't know what that was. And just learning those kind of things early on.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
I'll tell a quick funny story. Greg, one of our clients, I told him the other day, I was like, grab a plate. He was like, which plate? I was like, well, oh yeah. A plate always means a 45.
okay.
The guy's like, grab a plate. He was like, well, which one of these? There's lots of
Yeah.
plates. One.
Right.
But that's gym language for 45-pound plate. So he was like, okay, cool. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Like, was your confidence higher or lower than what you were probably capable of at the time? Like, do you remember coming in and going, oh, this is hard? Or coming in and going, like, do you remember coming and going, I'm gonna do fine, and be like, oh man, this is harder than I thought it was? Or do you remember coming in and being like, I think this is gonna be hard, and going, oh, I'm doing fine. Like, what was the kind of initial part?
First you're intimidated by the newness of it,
Yeah.
and then depending on what we were doing, I would I'm 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 uh, I'm a competitive person. I want to win. I want to do well. And when there were times that I didn't fail, but there were times where I could not do where, in my mind, in my mind, I want to think that I'm 30 years old instead of 65 years old.
Yeah.
And so a number of times I got very frustrated with myself when I could not do what I thought in my mind, what my 30-year-old mind said that I could do.
Right. Yeah. Over time, how did that change? Clearly, you had a lot of physical changes, and we'll kind of get into some of that, you know, and what that's been. But how do you, when you think back, like, how did your mindset or maybe kind of like the way you thought about yourself change over that transition?
Well, just seeing the one, having patience and knowing that, okay, I'm not going to make a transformation overnight, that it's going to be a marathon. I can't go there for, a couple of sessions and think that, that I'm going to make a big change. So the being patient was a lot of it. And then also understanding that, okay, I can't do what I think that I can do, but there's a lot that I can do, and trying to stay within myself and and use the expression, stay in my lane, and not worry about, once I got into the classes, and we can talk about that in a minute, but not worrying about what somebody else is doing at their station, if they're doing their their work quicker than I am, staying within myself and being comfortable with what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and knowing that, okay, I can't do as many reps, or I can't lift as much weight as I want to get to, but I know that that's out there for me at some point, and I've just got to be patient, and I'll get to that point.
Yeah. Very cool.
And just feeling good about myself. And I think that was a big piece to me. When I leave now, and it was the same back then. I'm in the 6 o'clock class, but when I was working individually with a coach, or as I've gotten into the classes, I get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and when that alarm goes off early, I usually wake up pretty early, but sometimes it's really early. But when I get there at 6 and we work out, and when I walk out at 7, there's such a sense of accomplishment that goes with that. That it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and most people I know are either one, still in the bed, or they've just gotten up and they've just had the first sip of coffee in the morning. Well,
Right.
I've gotten something done, and
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
So that helps me today, where I feel like, some confidence, continue to build on confidence, and what, I can feel good about myself because I got something done already this morning.
Yeah. I love it. In my observations, that there is kind of like that psychological shift where you first come in and there is frustration in yourself. Man, I should be better than this, or
Very much so.
frustration and like, I can't believe I let myself go this far, right?
Yes,
And
without question.
it takes some time to kind of reverse that back into confidence. Oh, look what I did. And I did my first this, or I did 5 more reps or 10 more pounds, or whatever it is. And
Yes,
if people can learn to just sit in that discomfort for just a little bit, it's gonna take a
yeah,
couple months. The first couple
yeah,
months, you're
yeah,
gonna be a little, you probably be a little harder on yourself than you should be. But if
yes,
you get through that, eventually you're gonna gain some momentum in the positive side of like, oh, now I'm getting wins. I'm getting more and more wins.
very much so. And I never once, and I was asked the question when I started, you know, are you committed to this? That was at the very first session when I came. Am I committed to what's my commitment level from 1 to 10? What's my commitment level to improve myself? And I think that's one of the first things for people and people that are older like me. You have to decide and be committed to it, and not think, okay, I'm going to start at the 1st of January, and 3 weeks into it, throw in the towel. I never that never crossed my mind to think. There were plenty of days that I was really hard on myself because I couldn't do something. I couldn't do as many reps or whatever it might be. But I never got to the point where, this is a joke. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And just throw in the towel.
That's awesome. Let's talk a bit about transitioning from the 1-on-1 group and what that experience is like. And I'll lay some context behind that. Is you're 65 currently, right? Is that correct?
I'll be 67 next week.
Okay, 67, yeah. So I think a lot of, our groups have everything from 20-year-olds up to 70-year-olds.
Yeah.
And there can be an intimidation factor that people look into that and say, well, I can't do that. So talk a little bit about that experience of going from the 1-on-1 to the group and how that transition has been.
The 1-on-1 was helpful to me to help me build that confidence at the beginning, to take those steps, to think, okay, I can do this. And you and I talked about it. I was doing some 1-on-1 sessions with you, and you said, I want to get you where you're in the classes. And the way NBS is set up, I was down on one end doing my routine, and the class is down at the other end doing their thing. And when I first started, I looked at those classes down there, looked at those people working, and I thought, that's not me. I could never get to that point. I'm not, I'm too old for that. But once, you and I talked through that as I worked through my individual classes, and it was a challenge goal that you set for me, right? I want to get you to where you are in the class. And in my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, that's too big of a mountain to climb. I don't think I can do that. But I discovered as I kept adding building blocks to my self, and as I'm improving, that, you know what, I can do that. I can do that. And the way that you structure the classes, and again, I got to the point where I'm comfortable within myself. I'm competitive and I want to do well, but I'm not working against another person in the class. I'm in the 6 a.m. class, and I'm 67 years old, and the man, he's a boy to me, but he's the man that's standing next to me working out is 24.
Right.
He's 24 years old.
Yep.
There's another guy that works out right in front of me, strong as a darn bull, but he's in his early to mid 40s, and right. It can be intimidating for people, but I just don't let it be intimidating to me. I've got in those classes, and they're, like I said, they're structured so that, if I'm operating at a white level or a yellow or orange, and other people are doing blue or purple or black, that's okay. That's okay. Yep. And you may get to this in a minute, but I'll share this. One of the best things that has been for me for the class is the camaraderie and the fellowship and the friendships that I have developed with the other people in the class. We root for each other. We're there to help each other. When we finish, we help put away the equipment and help each other do that. And that piece has been great. And that's one of the best things I think about the classes. And I need to say one other thing too about the coaches. The coaches challenge us to work hard, but they're not they don't talk down to us. They're very, very encouraging, and they push us to be the best of ourselves, but they do it in such a positive way. It works for me, and I tell them all the time how much I appreciate their encouragement. We were doing a hard workout just the other day, and the coach that was there, Terry, he made the comment, and it really struck a chord with me as I'm doing my push-ups or whatever I was doing. Uh, he said, keep pushing. You can be tired when the clock sounds.
Mhm.
You're not tired now. You can be tired then. And that really struck a chord with me to push myself, to push through, uh, and get one more rep, one more rep, one more rep. And like I said, when the clock runs out, I can be tired then.
Right.
But the encouragement that you get from the coaches has been great for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, when we originally talked about the classes, one of my goals was to get you exercising more frequently,
Yeah,
you training more frequently. 'Cause I
yeah,
think you're doing 2 days a week at the time. And
yeah. I was.
I was like, hey, I would love to see you doing 3, 4,
Yeah,
more days a week is gonna create more fitness in your life.
exactly.
And so, and then the groups was an opportunity for that. And um, and the other nice thing about the group is it is a little bit more social pressure to output.
There's no question. The accountability that goes with it. When I wake up in the morning and that pillow is holding on to me, and those covers in my bed don't want to let me go, I'm thinking about all the people that are in my class that they are there to work out, and they're going to be disappointed that I'm not there.
You're
And
like, where you been, bud?
yeah, exactly,
They
exactly.
also may
So
be like, and you also you're like, I don't want them to get too much of an advantage over me.
that's right.
I
That's
mean,
right. That's right. So there's a great deal of accountability in that. So that's been good for me.
you know, one of the concepts, I don't know if I would say it's advice, though it could be taken as advice, but one of the concepts I've suggested to people who are 60 plus is that you should spend more time around younger people doing physical things.
Yes.
Because if you spend all your time around people your age, you're going to do things that people your age do.
Right.
Sit around and not do anything. you know, if you'll spend time with people a decade or two younger than you, your perception of what's like socially acceptable will be pushed a little bit. You'll say,
Yes.
in order to,
Yes.
I got to be able to do these things with these people. I'm going to have to be physically fit and take care of myself. And then you're going to find yourself doing that more. And it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like,
Right.
because you do more
Right.
activity, you can do more activity. If you
Right.
spend
Right.
more, if you do less activity, your body will make it so that you can do less activity. So I
Right.
think that is a nice thing about the classes is it gives what each person's at their own individual life stage needs. People a little bit older, they need to be around some younger people that are going to push them to stay and act young.
Yes.
people who are young need people who have more wisdom and experience in life to speak wisdom and experience into their lives.
Right, right.
So
That,
that's the beauty
that's
behind the
that
group.
absolutely has been a big plus for me to be around those folks that are younger than me, and it's yes, there's a certain amount of motivation where I stay within myself, but I'm still competitive,
Yeah,
and uh, and I have noticed a couple of times um, that well, they look at me. Well, if Wright can do that, good grief, I and he's 67 years old. I can do. I need to lift more weight.
exactly. Yeah,
So it cuts both ways.
for sure. You've had a couple of really big performances that stick out in my mind. Specifically, you did 275 for 3 on deadlifts. Am I correct on that?
On the deadlift,
Mm-hmm.
I did 250. I did two.
250 for 3 on deadlift.
Yeah, yeah.
Did a wall walk.
I did a wall walk. I sure did.
What other performances stick out in your head as like, man, I did that.
I guess one of the biggest was last May. I did the Murph.
Yeah.
Um, I did the level that I could do, but I did it, and with all the other people there, um, I had planned to go just to support the other people. My son Morgan was doing it, um, and you were there and were doing it, and there were a lot of people that were from all the different classes were there to do that, and probably I guess the night before I thought, you know what, I need to try that. If I can if I can do uh, part of it, I would love to be able to finish. But I need to try this and push myself. And so I did do that, and I did finish, and it was excuse me, it was an emotional moment
Absolutely.
to do
Yeah.
that, and to have my wife and my family, not all, but number of family members that were there to cheer me on. Um, it was a special moment.
Absolutely. I remember, I mean, I'm getting emotional now myself, and I remember tearing up during it because it just is it was like one of those moments that sticks out in reflection because you're probably in your head going, God, like 2 years ago, I was getting heart stents put in, you
Right,
know, and
right,
now here I am doing one of the most challenging workouts that exist. I'm doing it with my son. I got my
right,
grandkids watching me, and it's just
right.
like all that emotion hits you at one because it's a reflection of like how far you've come, what's possible, what the future holds. So it's just like that powerful moment. And yeah, I remember that one definitely stuck out in my head as well.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I was very pleased with that, and I do look forward to the level ups when we're doing deadlifts. Early on in my journey, um, I could not deadlift. I could not pick up 200 pounds one time,
Yeah,
and and then now I last time I did 253 times, and to be able to achieve that and to be able to do the Murph. And so I look forward to the next deadlift level up to see what I can do. And they were doing this wall walk, and I thought, there's no way I can't do that. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that. I think I can try that. So um, again, the our whole class was cheering me on and clapping, and to see this old guy struggling to get up the wall, but I did it, and I was very pleased with that, and I'm pleased with overall, I'm pleased with how I feel, what I'm able to do with my family, with my grandchildren. We had all not all, but most of my grandchildren were over. We had 7 were over at our house last night. My wife Cindy and I had them over last night, and to be able to easily get down on the floor and play with them, it means a lot. It's pretty special to me, and just the feeling of self-confidence and whatever you want to call it, in knowing how I feel, and I have people that tell me, gosh, you look like you've lost a bunch of weight. You look great. And to get unsolicited comments like that means a lot. It's that positive affirmation is pretty special.
Yeah, for sure. We would talk about like how when you first get in, a lot of the feedback loop to you is like negative feedback. Like
Yeah,
you go, oh, I try to do a push up, I can't do a push up, or I try
right,
to do this for X amount of time and I gas out and my heart rate's high and I feel bad.
right,
It's like negative reinforcement.
right.
But then once you flip back over and you have those like very objective positive reinforcements. I used to not be able to do 200. I just did 250 for 3. Like that's
Right.
a that's a very clear, measurable improvement that sticks out. You
What,
have oh, I didn't think I'd do a walk, but I tried it and I could do that. That sticks out.
yeah. When I started, I couldn't do, David, I bet I couldn't do 2 push-ups.
Yeah.
Well, we did a workout, um, I think it was Tuesday, and I did a combined in this routine we did. I did 60 push-ups,
Yeah.
and I started to that I've been doing them on a box, but I thought, I can do these off the floor. So I did 60 push-ups on the floor, not all at once, of course, but build up through the routine. And I walk out, I thought, that's okay. I did okay on that. So
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of those small victories along the way. Obviously, the Murph is an awfully big one, um, but those little victories mean a lot. They do.
what are some of the positive feedbacks you've got from outside the gym? We talked about being able to get down and play with your grandkids, but there's anything else that sticks out as, oh, this is a market improvement from 3 years ago?
Well, just I mean, like I said, when um, climbing stairs and things like that, just when I enjoy working out around the yard, that I can go out in the yard and pick up sticks and clean my yard up, I struggled to do before I started. I mean, I would pick up some sticks, and something as simple as leaning over and tying my shoelaces and not having to stop and come up for air. It's you
Yeah,
know young people take those kind of things for granted, but as you get older, those that's that's something kind of simple, but there's victories in those kinds of things.
for sure. We call those activities of daily living.
Yes,
Um, and that's one of the, I mean, that's the medical term for it. And when you lose the ability to conduct activities of daily living, that is when they suggest you find assisted living facilities.
right,
And a concept that I think people will help them is the difference between activity, exercise, and training. I say activity are physical things that you do, but that don't force your body to change or adapt. So
right,
this would be something like putting on your shoe or going out and cleaning up um, things in the yard or doing laundry, whatever. It's physically active, but it's
right,
walking, physically active, but is not causing your body to change at all. Exercise is physical activity that causes your body to change, but training is purposeful, planned, and progressive exercise. So you could just go out for a random run or go to the gym and do random stuff, but that's exercise, it's not training. The more
Yes.
training that you do, the more activity you're going to be able to do. And I think that's helpful for people to understand that is that activity is not exercise. So when people say like I'm on my lawn or like I'm active, and I go, well, understand that that's going away pretty daggum quickly.
Yes. Yes.
So if you
That has been the case in my life. I'm able to do things that had I used to be able to do, and I got to the point where it was just a struggle to do basic things. And like I said at the very beginning, I thought, you know, is this the best I'm going to feel? Is this the best I'm going to be able to do for the rest of my life? And when I made that decision that I can do better than this. And one of the things that is stressed at NBS that it helps me a great deal, and you hear this for people as they get older, but it's good for younger people as well, is the stretching that we do and all the things at the beginning of our class. It's obvious how important that is, um, and that has meant a lot to me.
yeah,
Is just focusing on that piece so that it has helped me with my mobility.
yeah,
That's been very important for me.
for sure. I have a very simple way of like explaining this to people. I say cardiovascular exercise will help you live long. Strength and mobility will help you live well, and nutrition will help you look like you work out.
Yeah.
I simplify it for you. People are like, what's
Yeah.
better? I was like, well, let me simplify it for you. What do you feel like the biggest struggles for um other people your age are? What's the obstacles that keeps them from taking action like you've taken action?
If their health is generally pretty good and they one, it's just hard. I mean, it's hard to make yourself get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I think people think probably, they want to stay active. It's kind of like you said, well, I'm active. I get up and I walk and so forth. And they think that's enough. And just, I'm too old to do that. I'm too old to go lift weights and that kind of thing. I'll go walk on the treadmill and that's enough. Well, that's something, but it doesn't have to necessarily be enough. We can do a lot more. In the training and working with someone who knows what they're doing, that can help you help yourself, I think is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. What would be your advice to them if someone says, "Hey, I'm too old to do that"? What would you say to them?
Um, you're not. If I mean, it's simple and maybe it's a cliche. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I think you have to decide that, and you have to um, get up out of the chair and start. And that's the hardest thing. And to just decide, I'm gonna feel better, but I can't feel better overnight. It's gonna take building blocks and working um, daily to get better.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like it's maybe a lack of clarity of what's possible and what they can do? Is it is it a lack of understanding of value in it? It's like, I don't know. Like,
Uh, There's probably um, there's probably a little of both of that involved in it. That is that really worth it to do that? And I think understanding that you can really there's that much you can get out of it, and um, and like I said, just wanting to get better, wanting to get better, and wanting to um, understand. I think that's been good for me is understanding the different exercises that we do every day and how they're all interconnected and that they all work together to help me get better overall.
yeah. All right, right. What do you have planned for the future? What are your future goals? What would you like to accomplish physically in this year?
Um, I just want to continue these building blocks that as I referred to, and to work on. Um, I'm doing one of the challenges that NBS is offered right now to continue to work on nutrition. I found is a big piece of it. You know, I can't do uh, these workouts every day and not um, dovetail nutrition into that. And I think that's so I'm working hard on getting additional protein in my diet, watching what I eat. Do I do I sometimes go have a hamburger and French fries? Sure. I mean, I don't want to live the rest of my life having a salad, you know, and Jello. You know, it's I don't want to eat like an old person thinks they have to eat. You know, but I have learned a lot about nutrition through NBS, and I want to continue to work on that. I um, One of the things that has been an emphasis through talking to your folks at NBS is sleep. That's something that people don't focus on. My system generally doesn't require as much sleep. A lot of people do. They've got to get 8, 9 hours of sleep. I can I don't have to have quite as much, but it's something that is very important. That so I really focus on and try to set a goal of getting 7 hours of sleep every night, and not staying up as late and that type thing. So working on in addition to the classes and going and working on my strength training and working on cardio and things that we're doing there. My sleep and my nutrition are important, and I've tried to work on those and focus on those things.
Love it. To just continue to build on all what
Yes,
you're already doing.
yes.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I'm excited to watch your continued success.
Well, thank you. And I would encourage anyone who is an older is in the 60 plus that I'm in, that one, it's important, and two, you can do it. You'd be amazed what you can do. Because when I started from where I was to where I am now, if you had told me, right, a year into this, or a year and a half into it, or 2 years into it, this is what you're going to be able to do. I would have said, there's no way. There's no way I could do a wall walk. There's no way on this earth that I'm going to be able to deadlift 250 pounds. Are you crazy? But I've been able to do that, and that has meant a great deal to me personally, just in how I feel about myself, and it's helped me. I do this. I do it for myself, but also do it for my family, because I have a responsibility as the head of my household, to be there for Cindy, to be there for my children, to be there for my grandchildren. I've got nieces and nephews that look to me for help, and I want to be there for all of them. And so I have a responsibility, and that I've seen that from friends of mine who, honestly, that I have buried, that have died for whatever reason. And I know I have some friends, David, that have consciously made the choice to not take care of themselves, and they don't realize the ripple effect of that, and that it could have been prevented, and that they think people think that when they don't take care of themselves, they're just hurting themselves, and that is an extremely selfish attitude to take, because there are people around you that depend on you, and there's people that you may not even realize it, that depend on you, and to make that a priority in life, to take care of yourself, to want to improve yourself. You're not only improving yourself, you're improving the people that are around you that need you and depend on you. So it's I cannot overstate how much NBS has meant to me, and the impact that NBS has had on my life and the coaches that are there. It has been life-changing for me, and NBS has extended my life, and I've told the coaches there for that of how much they've meant to me, and what the impact that you and everyone else there has meant to me. And there ought to be a line out the door of people wanting to get into NBS, and I don't say that lightly, because it's made a huge difference in my life, and I thank you for that.
Well, Wright, I thank you for those kind words, man. I can't have it. I can't add anything to that.
Okay.
Love you, brother, and excited to just continue this journey with you.
Love you as well. Thank you, David. Thanks for the time and the platform to speak. I appreciate it a bunch.
Absolutely.
Take care. All the best.
All right, bud. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.